You made it here, Mama, and that matters more than anyone gave you credit for. This isn't just a podcast. It's a lighthouse, a reckoning, a remembering. I'm Marisa, a single mama who knows what it means to lose everything you thought you needed, only to find yourself stronger, softer, and more sacred than you ever imagined. Love Letters to Single Mamas was born from the ashes of survival, but it is not about surviving anymore. It's about becoming whole, becoming seen, becoming the main character in your own life. Here, we tell the truth about the hard days. We celebrate the messy, the beautiful, the unbecoming, and the rising. We laugh. We cry. We break the silence around what single motherhood really feels like, and we're building something new from it. This is a community, a movement, a love letter to the woman you were, the mother you are, and the legend you're already becoming. You're not just welcome here, you're needed here. And if you're holding your breath right now, wondering if you're allowed to want more, to dream bigger, to heal louder, let me be the first to tell you, you are. So exhale, Mama. Welcome to Love Letters to Single Mamas, Season 2. Hello, Mama. Welcome to Love Letters to Single Mamas. This is a topic, I have to admit, I've been putting off for a little while now. Why? Because honestly, it's a really hard subject to talk about. It's the recognition of the runner sprint in single mamas, and it's just not talked about enough. That's right, Mama. We're going to accept this challenge together to peer into ourselves on a deeper level. Because the best path to finding our true happiness starts with awareness. And please notice, I keep saying we, not you, not I, but we. And that's why this episode was tough for me, because I had to allow myself to do some personal digging, to check in with how all of this landed inside of me as I wrote it down. I'm happy to tell you I made it through. But this is one of those moments where I had to step even further and have faith in my own healing path. Now, I know we automatically think about our runner status in the context of romantic relationships. And yes, we're going to talk about that part too. This episode is written from a much larger perspective about why we do it and how it shows up far beyond just dating. Here's where my mind was when I started shaping this episode. We usually focus on the part that says, well, the relationship didn't work out, and I'm better off without that person. And listen, that's real. There's so much more underneath it. I want us to take that leap and go deeper. What if we dig underneath that surface? What if we finally talk about why we get stuck in that runner's loop? And most importantly, how do we change it? I'm here, willing and volunteering, because this is an area I've been aware of in myself for a very long time. So Mama, let's go there, together. Are you ready? Let's go. As I stood on the beach that day with my sons, I felt the weight of it hit me. Not just the weight of the man who wouldn't speak, but the weight of every moment before that. Every time I chose silence over conflict. Every time I convinced myself that surviving in tension was better than risking the fall. That was the moment I saw my pattern clear as day. It wasn't just that I ran when things got hard. It was that I stayed in things that weren't working and ran from conversations that could have set me free. It was a runner's loop wrapped in stillness. And Mama, let me tell you, that kind of running can wear 1,000 disguises. When we stop asking for what we need, we run when we overfunction, overthink, and micromanage every detail because we're afraid of what will fall apart if we don't. We run when we shut our hearts halfway down, so we don't have to feel the full ache. But here's the lightning strike that hit me when I stood in the water that day. If you don't face the pattern, you'll live inside of it. And I was done. So why do we become runners, Mama? That's the question, isn't it? Why do we sprint when we work so hard to build a life? Why do we keep one foot out the door even when we're surrounded by everything we once prayed for? I'll tell you my answer, and maybe you'll find your own in it too. We fear losing it again. We fear the collapse. We fear the heartbreak, the chaos, the moment that slips through our fingers. We fear going back to the nights when we swore we'd never survive again. So when people ask me, do you think you made the right call? Do you think you left too soon? Mama, here's my truth. I don't care if you think I was right or wrong. It was right for me. My heart felt settled afterwards. My soul was at peace. And that's the point. It's not what the outside world thinks is acceptable. It's about what's right for our family, for our peace, for our healing. You can overcome the runner's sprint when you start working from the inside out, not the outside in. When your chances are rooted in your wholeness, not the world's approval. That's when you stop running, Mama. That's when you come home. But if we go back to my personal story, would I have run if I knew the relationship had already deteriorated? I want you to answer that question, Mama, but at the end of this episode. First, let's talk about the difference between freedom and escape. Freedom means relationships that add value, where there's fairness, where both people show up, where morals are upheld, and where there's a sense of safety and care. Internally, it looks like handling problems before they become disasters, being accountable to ourselves, setting healthy boundaries, and allowing space for healing. Escape is survival mode. It's when we can't speak our truth. It's a one-way exchange. It's moral compromise, broken promises, gaslighting, no boundaries, biting, stonewalling, place where healing can't happen. And internally, escape can look like waiting until the last second, never speaking up, getting angry instead of communicating, and living in reaction instead of intention. So I set out to find the solution to my runner status. If I learned it, I could figure out how to become aware of it and learn how to work with it, not against it. Here's what worked for me. First, I tracked when and why it kicked off. Will I never feel it again? Nope. It's still there. When it happens, I can use those lingering feelings to identify and process with grace. Even within the boundaries of my relationship, we've talked about it at length. But when we hit conflict, we always ask each other one question. Is this problem bigger than us? And every time the answer is no. As long as we stay connected at the core, we can work through anything. But again, Mama, we are here as a community to make progress together. I put together a list. I'm calling it my Single Mama Edition Plan. And it's now been added to the Love Letters to Single Mamas Inner Circle on Patreon. Because let's be real, not every single mama can hit the spot every week. This isn't about apps. It is not a coaching program. This is for us, not the experts. So after this episode, head over to Patreon and grab the full list. But there's one item on the list I have to talk about. It's a promise I made to myself back in 2010. And while it's not always perfect, it's become my internal benchmark. I decided I was done with the cycle of disagreement and the exhaustion it left me in afterwards. So I made a promise. I would always try my hardest not to react in anger. Because here's what I learned. When I stay calm, I can actually process. I can pause and ask myself, what's really happening here? Is this something I need to address? Is this person healthy for my life? And how can I grow for next time? I can hold space for my emotions and, when possible, for theirs. So, Mama, I asked you a question earlier. Was I running or doing the healthy thing by ending that relationship? Here's my complete answer now. No matter what you think, it's okay with me. I chose the long-term safety for myself and my children, and I'm at peace with that. Mama, if I can reflect on my own life for a moment, what I know now is that every time I stopped running, I made room for something better. Not always easier, not always tidier, but better, more real, more aligned. And that's what saved me over and over, learning to sit with my own heart, listening to what it's asking for, and trusting that peace is worth more than any performance of strength. That's the lesson I keep learning, and that's the one I'm offering to you now. Hello, Mama. Thank you for holding space for me today. It's a little unnerving to talk about my personal stories, but I do it to show my bravery, because it's the only way we can change the dialogue around single parenting once and for all. If this is your first time hearing Love Letters to Single Mamas, welcome home. Let's talk. Let's embrace with words of encouragement and sage wisdom. Let's celebrate our happiness and kiss the stars with our laughter. If you want to dig into the unspoken parts of being a single mama, join the new Inner Circle on Patreon. Just search the name of this podcast and you're all set. And all that's left is to remind you, you're one of the toughest souls in the world, and you're doing an amazing job, Mama. I'm Marisa, a single mama on a mission, and this is just the beginning.